Good morning and good evening. Welcome back to the stream. Um, right. It's Sunday. It's another weekend day, and it's another day where I'm starting off a little bit more under the blue. But this time, I already know what to do. So I'm not gonna make this a permanent thing. Like I talked about yesterday, that I might change weekends to be more. Hey, Steffi. Good evening. Um, I said that I might explore the idea of changing the weekends to be a bit more relaxed and a bit less about just making concrete progress with this game. But I will still be doing something related to game development, at the least. More likely, still something related with um, this game specifically or this game's world. And that's just going to be for me to take a little bit of a break and not have a continuous streak where every single day is just about getting up and making Godot like like coding in a way. Because I will say that's probably the most thing. I just want a little bit of a break from coding. So yeah, world building. So I have actually been. I don't know if I will do that today, but I have been really into just doing lots and lots of world building because yesterday I had, well, it didn't happen before, but yesterday I was playing in the second session of our Vampire the Masquerade campaign. And once again, it was just really, really fun. I haven't done that much tabletop RPGs, and I just really enjoyed it. And I thought, hey, tabletop RPGs look like the kind of thing where um, you can get a lot of world building work done um, without having to fully do all of the different mechanics and such. Like comparing it to just like a standard board game or a PC game, there's just, since there's a lot more creative freedom where you can just create mechanics on the spot, it looks really nice for testing. And I don't know, it was just fun. And I had the idea that it would be really cool to just take this world and separate out its timeline into separate sections and just have the game be the latest like time period for the game. Then the tabletop RPG part would be closer to the beginning, but also not the very beginning. So there's just a bit of action happening, and then maybe have something in between, like a predecessor to the game. Who knows? I might explore that someday. Um, but yeah, so I guess that is one of the ideas I had, and I thought, what would be a cool, what would be a cool way I could explore the world building and also show it here that would be interesting. So there were two options. One was to just draw a map and kind of talk about what I have in my head and what I am planning. Connecting. Am I back? Okay, I'm back in YouTube chat. Hello. Oh, okay, I'm back in Twitch chat. Cool. Okay. Interesting. For some reason, I don't know if it's because of multi-streaming, but for some reason I get cut off at around this point. It could also just be my internet service provider? Question mark. Yeah. Just going to quickly make sure that the stream is definitely back on here. I'm going to. Am I having problems or are you? My internet seems to have a problem. Okay, so it was me, definitely. This time I cut off from Twitch, but now it looks fine. So Okay, 1 sec. I'm just gonna reload just to make sure. Okay, yeah. Yep, definitely looks back. So, yeah, you Steffi asked. First off, that sounds interesting and fun. One thing I have to tell you about when world building is make sure to have a timeline. If the game has lore, then you 100% no excuses have to have a timeline. Am I having problems or are you? My internet seems to have. As for the internet issues, that was on my end, definitely. As for the world building, then 100%. I didn't have a timeline before, but now I do. And let's just say the timeline is slowly being filled in. So let's fire up Milton. Since that's actually a nice. It's gonna be a little bit simpler to how do I say this? Save and quit. Yeah, I'm just gonna no programming for today. I need a little bit of a break from that. So timeline wise, let's do it like 5 zoom. No, no. There was like something to draw lines. 1 second. Lines was L. Or maybe there's a shortcut. Oh, there's a rotation thing. I completely forgot about that. No. 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 Okay. Never mind. Just gonna draw a line like this. So, timeline wise, I have the very first part now, which is just called the beginning. Double N? Maybe. So, the way this world kind of came to be is that it's actually quite short. So, looking at it, this is where the game takes place. And the game is at 100 years. So 100 years from the beginning, that is when the game takes place. Now, from 50, 25, from 20 to, let's just make a middle point. Yeah. From 20 to 30, I'd guess something like that. 10, 20, 30, 40. 20 E 30 E. Will there be like BC years? No, actually. So there won't be anything before. Like maybe some other thing is going to explore. Wait, so yeah. Okay, so the game is going to be everything here. This is going to be what the game is going to explore. It's going to explore everything beyond 100 years. The campaign that I'm right now working on is going to explore everything here. And then before, maybe from here to here, I don't know. Don't yet know what's going to explore that. Will there be a year where the game's timeline ends a sort of maximum year? Yes, there will be. And let's say I won't spoil it, but there is a maximum year. There is a maximum year where in the game world there is a final year. That is where everything ends. So, um, basically, from the beginning till the end, a world-ending disaster year, or just a blank screen saying you win. So definitely not a blank screen saying you win. Um, there will be a world-ending thing, but not necessarily a disaster. But the world will end in some spectacular manner. Or I don't know, it could also end just very simply. It could all just pop out of existence. Um, since the way that this world is creating, well, from going from the very beginning, is just there are cosmic deities that have banded together and they have created a world. Just a spot in space, a spot in nothingness where things just suddenly appeared and then started to happen. So the different deities are kind of tied to different emotions or different ideas and ideals, like creativity, um, lust, but not the like regular connotation. Lust has a little bit of a different meaning in this world. Then it was rage, fear, and like different kinds of emotions, but they represent different kinds of deities. Just banded together, started doing stuff, had their own arguments and their conflicts, and from all of that, a world was born that is called the plate. So this is the plate, and it was just created. At first, it didn't look quite like this. This is a bit more, a bit different of a drawing, but the plate was created, and it's an island-like world, not too big, where after its creation, well, I guess little bit about the world. Well, it's kind of a yes, a world created from spite. Um, so to be more exact, I don't know if I should. Okay, let's just say I'm going to limit myself to say that it's not created from spite. It was created from attraction and curiosity. Let's say this. And then spite, rage, and all the other emotions or deities jumped in, and that is where it kind of rolled out of. So, yeah, so anyway, going back to the world, so the world is pretty standard, I would say, in how you would see, like, imagining the size, I actually quite like what Breath of the Wild has done, in that the world is actually not that huge, but it has different sections that are quite different and let you explore different environments. So it's a similar idea here that the world is not too big and it is quite foresty. There are lots of forests, and there are also certain regions that are just larger, a desert region, a mountainous region, then larger like forest area, some empty like locations that like lots of empty locations. I still haven't had the final decision yet of what's going to happen there. And then there is a region that's just called the Gates of Rage, and not gonna go into depth of what that is. And yeah, so that's mostly about the world. Um, uh, in some perspective, yes, it would be the definition of hell. Uh, so that's all about the world. Now, what about characters, right? About what exists in this world. So the way that characters work is that characters just, by character I mean any living being. So living beings just started appearing shortly after the beginning. Animals, insects, birds, um, monsters, quote unquote, just different looking animals, but in how we're used to them. So monsters, um, the same cosmic deities would just sometimes appear also. Like, yes, they were after, but they didn't have a form, so they actually got forms. Yes, yes. Could have been that one of the gods got bored and decided to experiment creating this life. Yes, so it was that it wasn't per se that they experimented creating life, but these deities actually just knew what life was and how it works. And how you could imagine it is just like a group of people, right? Like the deities are not like how you would say they're not the Greek gods kind of deities where all of them are mighty, sophisticated, powerful, and like arrogant, like all the traits that you would assume to them. Just these deities are more beings of power, and they are very emotional or strongly emotional about certain things, but they're not necessarily just like the standard archetype of being arrogant and like pompous, and they can be quite simple deities, and they're actually quite experienced with different kinds of worlds. Let's say this is not their very first time um, playing around, making worlds, etc. So they already know how to create beings of life. They already know how to shape the world. They already know about events that can happen, how to destroy worlds, etc. Like this is not their first rodeo. And yeah, oh, a multiverse theory. Yeah, kinda. So it can go in that direction. So after a couple of years, the deities just start creating things that are alive. So as I said, monsters, etc., etc. And then at some point, they just create people. So people are created, and they are created of various ages: children, elderly, middle-aged, like young adult, etc. Um, no babies, but just different ranges of age for people of what you assume. And once people are created, at first they're just still, they're just there, and then they start working. They start doing things. They start building houses. They go chop down trees, um, start farming, like do everything that you would expect people to do to survive. The only difference is that these people, they aren't they look way too comfortable with the situation. They look like, oh, they know what they're doing, they know what the plan is, and everyone's just very cooperative and nice to each other, and sometimes not that nice, but they have already their goals and they know what they have to do. What's happening inside of most people is actually that there are two forces. So the first is just a consciousness of the person, like every person's own free will. And the consciousness part is just very slowly waking up. So at first they're in pitch darkness. They only have their own thoughts and just a lot of questioning of why, what, and like they can't really formulate anything more. And then after a couple of hours to like the first day, they slowly start seeing things. So they start seeing the world. They start hearing sounds like grass and the wind. They start feeling that, okay, yeah, they have something in their mouth, they have a tongue, that they have a body, they have skin. And at that point, they kind of realize that they are in the world, that they have certain knowledge, that they have, well, a body, that they might have certain abilities or powers, but they have no experience with it. They don't really understand why they have that knowledge, why they have those abilities. And it's sort of like waking up with, well, to my understanding of what it would feel like to waking up with amnesia. So um, all of these people, most of these people, just wake up with a certain form of amnesia. And at that point, but like at the very, very beginning point, they can't, um, they can't make decisions, like actions. Like they can think stuff, but they can't really make those decisions. So they they feel more like in the spectator position, where you're just kind of sitting there and observing what's happening. Like you see yourself going up to a person, like saying like "Hello, John," and then talking about something that for some reason you understand what you're talking about, and you hear thoughts why you're talking about it, but you don't get the why. Why those specific things? Why is it that you the person is doing those actions like out of their own free will? And what's actually happening is that inside of every person, once they are born, like they start existing, they have something called a guardian. So a guardian is just an entity inside you that has its own knowledge, has its own abilities, and has taken control of your body, your thoughts, your knowledge, and everything, and is just existing for you. And this happens for the very first year of when you are alive, that you're just kind of mostly spectating what the guardian is doing with you, but also they are like a parental figure, like that is trying to teach you the ways of the world, how you should act, what you should do, just like course you into the rhythm of the world. And then at some point they will give you complete free will, and you will make decisions for yourself, make actions for yourself, and just do what you wish to do. So how that would look like is that, for example, a character could walk up to another character, and then that character asks them, "Oh, what is your name?" And then the guardian would just wait for a little bit and like let them try to say something. Like for example, say a name, or let the conscious will try to understand or hear or something. And then if they see that the person, like the consciousness of person is struggling, the guardian just jumps in and then completes everything for them. Like says, "Oh, my name is Lavier, and I'm here to hunt in the woods and make sure that we have food, etc." And then the other parties continue the conversation, and the consciousness is just left there to reflect what is happening, form an opinion about themselves, and then decide like what next they would like to do. So this just carries on. The conscious part of the person gets more and more opportunities to do certain actions. A community starts forming, a city, a town, maybe even a full-on castle, and then that character just kind of decides what they're doing, but still up to the 1 year point, um, what the person does is closely monitored by the guardian. So you can't just start killing people or stealing unless that is the guardian's intention. So this kind of creates a bit of a, let's say, a point of fear where up to the 1 year, you have a person that is, in most cases, well educated or motivated, knowledgeable, very cooperative, working towards a certain goal, um, and just kind of predictable and reliable. And then once that 1 year point finishes, then it just stops. And at that point, the person may change completely, drastically, dramatically, since sometimes, yes, sometimes people just continue living on in what feels like the exact same way. Like the person was like some kind of soldier who protects the home. So a home is just a place where people appear, and then those people come together and they call their location home, and they just try to survive on their own, their little group. So let's say we have a soldier, like a guardian of the home, like not a guardian, but a protector of the home from maybe various monsters or animals. And after the 1 year point, once they are now properly born, they just stay completely the same. But that internally is of their own free will, and the reasoning behind that may be that they are scared to change. They're scared to become someone different. Maybe the person that they are truly, like consciously, maybe the person that they consciously are is the same person that they are as the guardian. But the opposite could happen, that a person feels oppressed, like they do not have their own free will, that they have been ignored and denied for all of this time, for a full year. That they try to say something or do something completely different, but the guardian just takes over and does something absolutely to the opposite direction. Then after that 1 year, they might be filled with rage or disappointment or just resentment for the whole world. And that is when the very first, like, well, not the very, very first conflicts, but the first people driven conflicts. Yeah, let's say the first, let's say, recorded people driven conflicts start happening. And then you start having disputes, you start having politics, you start having like a governing body, which would be the very center where the castle is. And just the story keeps rolling on. And how you could imagine it, that the first newborns as they call it, so newborns are people who still don't have that 1 year of living. So newborns appear in waves at first. So you have the first wave of newborns. So that would be between 0 and 10. So between 0 and 10, you have the first newborns. Then between year 10 and 20, you have the second generation of newborns. So, the first newborns were born at, somewhere close to the beginning. Then the second batch of newborns was born on the 10th year. And then finally, on the 20th year, the third generation of newborns. And then, not gonna go into detail of what happens afterwards, but so the tabletop RPG would be going around what happens to the first, second, and third generation of people, and everyone else that isn't necessarily a person. Maybe it's a deity, maybe it's a monster, maybe it's an animal, etc. And as for the 100th years, things get a little sporadic, and there's really not going to spoil what's happened or about who it's happening, but there are quite a lot of generations in between the beginning and 100 years. So it's it feels like, oh, it should be a very early stage world without that much in it, but at the 100-year point, there's actually quite a lot of stuff actually happened in the world. Lots of factions, lots of cities, places, locations, people, history, events, memories, just lots and lots of stuff has already happened up to the 100 point. Since, wait, are they humans or humanoid creatures? So, um, the very first people, as they call it, they are humans and some humanoids. So, like humanoids being like one of the specifics that they have is that you have humans that are look more similar to orcs or goblins. So like they have a bit more bestial traits. Um, but they were also like from the world's begin. If they are humanized, does that mean they have a normal 80-ish year lifespan? So that is a very good question. So okay, so about lifespans. So lifespans are actually a little bit shorter because are they longer? That is a good question about lifespans. Because depending on the lifespans, you might have to expand that 100-year history. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm getting where you are coming to with this. Um. Hmm. So at the 100-year, sorry for the clipping. At the 100-year mark, there are definitely people that have died from old age. Like at this point, there are definitely, like, there are also people that have presumably died from conflict. Not that many, but there are some. And then thinking about lifespans, I might just take, yeah, that like 80 sounds like a pretty 80 or 70. So like, yeah, people live between 70 and 80 years. And I'm going to say, yeah, like a 70 and 100. Yeah, let's say like at a very top range, a 70, 100. I don't know if there will be 100, maybe. I guess that's not that, it's not that crucial because, hmm, oh, yeah. It's actually, yeah, it's going to be, no, it's going to be a 7,100 actually, because that is an interesting story point. So what's going to happen is most of the people and the humanoids, I'm just going to also call them people, but they are just a bit different. But the people characters, most of the people at the 100-year point are going to be dead. It's like they're not going to be just all dead at the exact same time, but most of them are going to be dead. Some very rare occasions of people might still be alive there, so there might be some that recall the events of the very beginning, but those people are quite rare. And then, of course, there are deities who are just maybe in disguise or known that they're in disguise, and they will just know what happened at the beginning, and maybe even they will know what happened up to the beginning. Who knows? So, yeah, 70 to 100. I should actually write this down somewhere else. 70 to 100 years. Live disguise is a very interesting thing. I might have to rethink my deity system a bit. Oh, cool. Yeah. Like, I also think that you know, there is, like thinking about deities and just, I guess, gods in different games, I guess, just literature, movies, etc. Is I'm I like the idea of deities being just hidden away from sight and just trying to not interact with the world. But I also like the idea of exploring very interactive deities that, are just at the very beginning where they're just trying stuff out and they have this kind of mentality of, oh, I really want this to happen, but oh gosh darn it, I just like ripped out like a quarter of the world and it's like exploded now, but it's all right, I'll just fix it in post. And like they just take up and like scramble the sands together and like just make a new continent. And like the other deities are just like looking at that one like being and like, you did it again, you like ripped half the world apart. And you get some of those interactions where since I want to explore the idea of how it would feel like for beings that have immeasurable power just to try to live regularly in this world, like they are just as much interested in living in this world right now as like the characters that they create. Um, and sometimes don't. Who knows? Sometimes characters aren't created from these deities and they just also don't really know how they appear. Hmm. And that might come from something outside what the deities understand the universe, or it might come from hidden deities, just deities that were a part of the world's beginning, but maybe just never showed themselves. A mysterious evil deity creating those mysterious origin people. Yeah, like there is like some people are just completely unknown to why they were created to the deities. And I would even say that yeah, quite a good amount. Like there's a good split. Like and at the same time, also there's another factor that yes, the deities might know who people are at the very first year. Like they they basically instilled the knowledge, the powers, emotions, etc., goals of the people that had like a deity that just says, "I want a castle," and they like make people that are there to build a castle. But after that 1 year point, those people might completely change. There might be a revolt that a deity created lots of people to build them a castle, and after the 1 year point, all of the people just revolted and then tried destroying the castle and the deity. And not gonna say what happened afterward, but that is also an idea. And yeah, that's. I guess that's that for. Is that everything for timeline points? I don't know. So yeah, so I guess I can kind of. No, I'm not gonna spoil what the question mark is. I'm gonna leave it there. Um, yeah, so this is the TRPG. So I don't know. Is there anything else I can say or like to say about the timeline? I think I know that there is not that much done. Oh, I guess the purpose of the timeline of what I'm saying here. Oh, right, I forgot. This is the halfway point, 50 years. So what I'm thinking is, I mentioned it before a little bit, but I am thinking that while I am making the game, like everything that's going to be part of the game, I am really going to be showcasing off the simulations, like just gameplay and stuff, like testing on stream. I'm going to be showing off stuff that is happening between 50 and 70 after the beginning. 50 years B, just 50 years. Nope, Steam, not Steam, Stream. So everything between 50 and 70 is going to be, yeah, what I just said, what I'm going to show off at stream. And it's also going to be the point where people from stream are going to be able to influence what happens. So people are going to give me suggestions, maybe for characters, maybe for events, how certain things like play out. Maybe it's just been going to be ideas in general that people suggest in chat. It might be something more interactive where it could have some kind of Twitch game or like a command that people could run in. That would be something I'd really love to have set up. And yeah, that's the stream. And at the point where I see that, okay, I have the game in a state where I can just like, this is it, this is the final way, the final iteration. Then I'm going to have a separate just branch for the story. And then I'm going to work on setting up the rest of the 30 years. Like this one is done in secret. I just set the events of the next 30 years and I try to kind of play off of what has happened in the 50 to 70 mark. I also play off in what happened in the TRPG part, what I decide to do for the first 20 years. The 30 to 50 year gap, haven't decided yet what's going to happen here, like what I will do about this gap. But yeah, the 70 to 100 years is going to be the part where I just do it completely myself or maybe with a team if I have people joined in. And that is going to be mostly what is going to be explored in the game. So technically what's going to be known about the world to, like, let's say people who watch the streams or watch the videos is mostly going to be this part. And that's probably it. Since what's happening in the tabletop RPG, I will likely, maybe I will showcase it, but I'm just thinking that the tabletop RPG part is just going to be something where I play with my friends, host it like a Dungeons and Dragons thing, but for like this system, actually I'm going to use more the Vampire the Masquerade system since I like how flexible it is. It's just more lenient to doing more stuff and less focusing on the details of how it happens. And I think the system that there are these very varied power beings in the world just leans more to a system that lets you get away with more stuff, but also fail miserably sometimes. Like have great successes, have great failures, and then lots of stuff in between. So I think that that's something more logical and structured, like D&D, just wouldn't work here. It wouldn't play out well. And also it would just be an absolute mess to try to calculate, I don't know, a deity punching someone in the gut, and it's like making a huge like hole in a castle. Like, how do I calculate that with like D&D rules? It would feel difficult. So a modified Vampire the Masquerade system it is. So yeah, that is basically the timeline. Hey, actually wrote it out. Okay, I still haven't decided what this is. So this is still not written out. Yeah, like this something else. What is this? Yeah, not sure what that is. I guess this just lives. This just gives me creative freedom to prepare for the tabletop RPG. This gives me time to think of like some very core events that happen in the game, and maybe for the medium that I would use here. Who knows about this? Haven't decided. I guess this just bridges the tabletop RPG with what's happening in the stream. And then what's here is I guess, yeah, this is completely secret. Just to make an interesting story. So, yeah, that's nice. It's nice to just like it's so interesting. I'm the kind of person that just loves talking about well, I guess my own ideas to myself quite regularly and rehearsing it and just when I'm thinking of ideas, I'm actually thinking in the way that I am presenting now on stream. So um, I am, I am thinking up the game ideas, the lore, and everything as if I was preparing to present them to a stream or to someone to I'm talking to, and this has been the most natural, I would say, way. Like it felt like for this whole time, it just felt like I was thinking of what's happening, but I was also at the same time presenting, and it just felt absolutely natural. So I know I just really love this. Really, really nice way to start a Sunday. Um, Same. I love just like rediscovering the lore I make. Yeah, yeah, nice. That is very, very nice. Um, do you have a timeline planned, Steffi? Like, tell me a bit more about like your world. Is it an old world? Is it a new world? Do you have? Is it more based on like fantasy world timelines or the real world's timeline? I do have a 2 page long timeline. Wow, nice. That is a good thing. Like yeah, like as you said, like have a timeline that definitely helps. I am now I think I'm better understanding what you meant since I was more focused, let's say, on like where my mind was mostly focused for at this point was okay, I'm kind of focused on what's here. Like I have some stuff done for here, like in terms of what's going to happen, what kind of characters are going to be, etc. Most of my thinking is actually done like here. Like I've done a lot of thinking about the characters and the places for what's happening after 100 years, but not that much for everything in between. In the lore, the first recorded year is minus 1298 BD, and the maximum year the game goes is the year 2000 AD. Okay, gotcha. And then I assume the BD, the D is going to stand for some kind of event or character or something. Yes, it stands for before death. Oh, interesting. Is this somehow based on the first death in 2098? 1298? Is that how we would say it? There was a mass extinction event that killed 90% of all life on the planet. Ah, okay, interesting. Right, so it's um was there a conscious intelligent life at that point or before that point? Oh yeah, sorry. Was there intelligent life at that point or and before that point? Um, like, are we talking more so like extinction of the dinosaurs kind of situation, or um, I guess in the way Noah's Ark situation? Yes, there was a period of 2,000 years where civilizations flourished. Okay, gotcha. Oh, the first recorded year is 1298 before death. So there was still there was existence before it. It was just not recorded. I think that's how it works, right? Yeah. Yes, but I decided on the first year written down would be minus 1298 to avoid having like 6,000 years of lore. Makes sense? Yeah, that sounds like a lot of lore to have to explain to people. Um, I guess just to have in the game written in some form or whatever. Um, Also, kudos. I don't know if that is the intention, but I really like that you are fully fleshing out the lore, like to not to make like certain gaps, but since I assume that it's quite heavily reliant on the history of the game, that you're making sure that um, the history is filled, like fully featured, like it doesn't have like very important gaps or just undecidedness, but also you're limiting the amount of history that there is by setting that, okay, only from this point it was recorded. So it's in both ways to the benefit of, like, I guess the players or the people interested in the story, that it is it is, I guess, complete, I would assume, but also not too long to become overwhelming. Like that is just uh, that is just the impression that I'm getting. Yes, one of the main goals of the game is to discover the hidden parts of history and stop the empires from repeating the same mistakes. Oh, I love that. That is that is a very, very good sentence. The main goal of the game is to discover the hidden parts of history and stop the empires from repeating the same mistakes. That is like an elevator pitch, like sentence. That is like um, a core idea, like sentence. Like you hear that and um, instantly you start getting thoughts and ideas in your head of how the story is going to like play out, and what you could do and how you could approach the different problems. Even better, you have to work your way up the hierarchy before you can actually even get near the leaders. Gotcha. Okay. Yes. So, hmm. Yeah. So this all plays out from a person who is not shaping history, but who is observing history. And through observing history, they get knowledge of what's happened before, and they, like, I guess, start seeing tendencies towards what could happen, and then they just have that urge that they must change history or it will repeat itself. Okay, nice. That's exactly it. Okay, awesome, awesome. I really like that. Like that's a really good that is a very natural feeling cause for why to do action. Like it's very like it has a very good ring and connection to just the sense of survival, and that why would you feel the need for something to change? Well, you have experience, you're collecting on your experience, and you see a threat that could result to an experience that was this unfavorable, unwanted, and so that is why you decided that things need to change and things need to be different, and that is just a very natural motivator for like instilling people to like players to act and to do something and get invested to it, since they see that they already know of what could happen, and now they're trying to prevent it, or I guess cause it. I don't know how much freedom the game would give in terms of if the players could try to fix it and change it, or if they could try to force it to happen, like for the extinction events to happen more regularly, like repeat the process and then start off at the point where they could take up control, assume control. I don't know. Um, yeah, that's just the kind of thoughts that I'm getting based on what you have written right now. If I am ad libbing or going off rails too much, let me know. But I'm just very fascinated by like, what I'm hearing right now. Um, it's actually something that I've picked up a little bit, like working where I work. There's a really nice board game developer creator who just makes actual like board games. They have made some really fun stuff about a city in my country. And one of the things that I've learned from them or just observed from them is that whenever I'm talking about my game ideas, since I have approached them with my own board game like ideas that I have, they have this very open nature where whatever I say, they take it and they just instantly start spinning it off into different directions and just taking what I have and trying to make like a direction, like running wild with it, with a direction of what they heard, and then just keep saying stuff, like iterating on it, and then after they've said all that, like they come back to me with questions about like what questions about what not just they what they heard from me, but about also questions of what they see the perspective of where this could go and where this could become. And it's actually quite useful because it's just a very early challenge um, of ideas. Like at least for me, it's something I really appreciate because that person's ideas just challenge my own and also give me more perspective. So I don't feel like I get tunnel vision as often. And if that's something that annoys anyone, do let me know. Like I can like refrain. I can just be excited, and I can not try to like derail the story. You're not. That's almost exactly how I want it to be perceived. Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm excited. I like it. I like a history like focused, a history rich um, story that but kind of hints itself to how it is going to play out, how it's going to end, and it just gives that kind of assuredness for what could be or what must be done. Like in a way, it's what I really love. I don't know if that's the intention, but technically, you could in no place specify what the goal of like you could be very indirect with giving goals to players in that you don't really give them like, oh, do this and that, but this is what's gonna happen if you don't do that. And that's an indirect goal. And then just if people see that, if people see that and decide that, okay, this is what I want to do, because I see that if I do not do this, this is going to repeat itself, and this is going to be the way that the world plays out, and like my like my actual other goals, like of helping this character or being with this faction, just kind of break up. That would be something that the player would decide by themselves. So automatically, that is a much stronger goal than giving the player something just like, here's your quest, do this. This is your goal. Like, just like kind of squeezing the goal to the person. And it doesn't necessarily always work, and it's always not always as natural. So, um, yeah, having those, like, having people decide goals on themselves is really powerful. Oh, that's a really nice idea. Because I planned for a world war to happen unless you stop the empires, but I wasn't sure how to let the player know that will happen. Thank you for the suggestion. I will definitely use it. Yeah, like, no problem, definitely. Yeah, explore the idea of, you know, I would say, I think, I think it's an invisible choices. Let me just quickly take a look. I'm not quite sure if this was exactly explored. How I remember it, how I'm remembering it, but this is so this is from GMTK. It's something about invisible choices, and I don't know if I just made the connection or if it's was mentioned in the um, video itself, but this is about how games use certain tactics where they don't really say what the player can do and what it decides, but just let the players decide on themselves, but set up the situation in a way that just set it up in a way that it feels like people made a decision on their own. So the way I look at it is just like looking from, I guess, a psychology perspective. If you want people to do something or be find something important, there are really two main ways. There is you just give them instructions, or you create the environment for them to do that thing. So, for example, if you want a person to just do a specific routine of actions, you give them an instruction set and they do it. Then your problem is then you have to motivate them why they should do it. The other option is that you don't give anything, you don't give any instructions, and you create a scenario. So, for example, I have a box that is completely empty, but it's like properly lit up inside. I just have the person walk in, I close the door behind them, and now they are in an empty room. And the only thing that is on the floor is a hammer. What is likely to happen? Well, it's very likely that the person will at first just look around, get confused, and then walk up to the hammer. Okay, that is my goal, like my intention for the player to get closer to the hammer, done. And it just happened because there was nothing else in the room, and the hammer was very obviously just protruding, like being there, like grabbing attention. So then the person walks up, they take the hammer, like make the hammer look not aggressive, but like inviting. Oh, this is a tool that maybe you should try using. Then they pick up that hammer, and then on that hammer, they see that there is a button. And so then they press that button, and that's it. That is the routine that I wanted the person to like perform. I wanted them to go to a hammer, pick it up, and then press a button on it. And it takes some creative thinking to figure out what is like how to make like how to incentivize, since you're never making people do certain actions, you're just giving them very specific incentives that just play to certain emotions. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's curiosity, happiness, like um comfortability, stuff that is already known or that people have lots of attachment to. And yeah, just I think that's mostly what's been talked about in that episode, but it really really inspired me, and it just gave me a lot of desire to try to make like to play around with this idea of just giving people lots and lots of free will, but trying to like sneakily guide them, hint them through how like what I would believe would be cool interactions and interesting stories, and what would be like a nice goal to have. But at the same time, people just have completely free will to just decide their own goals. Because I do not want to be in a position where I just say, okay, this is what you have to do, this is what you must do. This game has a lot of story points about free will and just consciousness and making your own decisions. So I would like to always provide that freedom to the player, but just give them guidance so that they can get to know the world in a more comfortable way and not just have that constant feeling of I don't know what's happening, I don't know what I should be doing. Um and Yeah. Ooh, that was a lot of talking. I'm just gonna quickly drink some water. I could basically take this whole recording, since I'm streaming to YouTube too, and it's just going to be automatically uploaded. I could take this whole uploading and turn it into a TLDR, here's the lore kind of video. Might be not a bad idea. Um, oh, but yeah. That is absolutely genius. I adore this idea. Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah, like this is like, man, this recharges me so much. Um, I just I don't know. I've still been hinting about it. I might story time it later, but this is one of the main reasons why I am going to the decision of leaving my current job. Since on the one hand, I have been working for almost over 2 years in game development, and it's been a wonderful experience. I have learned tons. I have had some really good. Uh, I've had just a really good time, but at the same time, I don't get to do what I am doing right now. I don't get to just design. I don't get to really do that much thinking about what what people would feel, how they would interact. I don't even in the 2.5 years that I worked, and I've worked on, let's say, over 10 games. I have not had a single interaction with someone who would have played the game, and that is just something that really, I don't know, just lurks at the back of my mind and just gnaws at me that I have been doing this for so long, and that the reason why I love making games and why I'm so passionate about it is both the part of designing the ideas, experiences, like mechanics, story, etc., realizing it, like creating it, and then also like presenting it, showing it, seeing how people react to it, getting that experience, like the whole process from beginning to end. And what I've been getting is just a very small sliver of it, like maybe like 25% of it. Um, oh yes, I completely agree that the process is more beautiful. Um, and the process, like I would still include into the process. Okay, so I guess there are hmm, the process is actually a bit more extended for me because I want to make something that is very not say that is made by everyone that finds interest in the game, but is reactive to how people see the game, how people get excited about the game. So, um, okay, I'm going to phrase it in a bit of a different way. So, there are many aspects to making a game. There is just creating the ideas for the game. There is developing the game. There is just finishing it, and then there is it's like, I guess, giving it to people and seeing their reactions and like everything that follows. And I definitely agree that the process is more beautiful than the reward. Like once the game is just completely finished, I would say, yeah, the whole process of what was creating the game maybe is like has that a little bit of that edge for me too, of that I am more interested in, like, oh, the like the before, like everything that comes up to like the game created, and then everything that happened afterwards. Like it's not that much about the game now; it's more about like a community and like social aspects. But at the same time, I am very much inclined to have people have a say in how the game is created, because I think that is just that is fun, that is useful, that is exciting, just to have also people be like the people that would play this game be in on the game's creation, and that was goes back to what I was saying about um, having the Twitch chat like era, like the Twitch chat or YouTube chat era, where people can add their suggestions, can try to build what they think is actually the backstory of the game. And who knows, I might even sneak in some ideas that people have of, oh, like this is what happened, like at the very beginning, because this is here. And then I could say, oh, okay, maybe that is a nice idea. I might actually add that, and but or not tell that at all. I know somehow maybe credit the people, because I was really inspired by also GMTK's video about how Valve makes games and just how they do lots and lots and lots of play testing. And I'm coming from the similar background that I really, really appreciate people's ideas. Like, I really just love hearing what people think when you present them with something. My style of creating games, like what do I focus on? Do you focus on like the visual aspects of the game, the mechanics of the game, the story of the game, the technical parts, the graphics, the characters, the animation, etc.? I am kind of on, like, I would say that I focus on the details of the game. I focus on little bits and pieces that I think would have a real strong like flavor, a strong reaction to like people playing or perceiving the story. And on the counterpart of it, what it means that I don't actually have that much content. So as you saw, like I did not have a timeline really filled out. I just kind of did it on a whim right now. I do not know all of the characters. I maybe have like 10 characters. I do not know the full motifs and the emotions and like the goals of every character, but I know certain aspects of them. I know that one of the characters is very ruthless and just completely honest, because I think that would interact really well with this other part. I maybe have the main city and I know what is its real world counterpart, what inspires the layout of it, but I have no ideas about the buildings, like what purpose they have. And on the one hand, you might say, oh, that's just a sign that the game is still in its very early stage. It doesn't have it all fully thought out. But the point I am trying to make is that I don't actually have that much inclination, like to desire to have everything made by me and thought out by me. I want to be inspired. I want to give people the chance to also contribute and suggest their own ideas or their own work, and just if they're interested, just do their own part and make this whole world a very collaborative experience, because that is actually what the world is very much about. It is very much about collaboration and inspiring each other, and it's just kind of just my way that if I have a certain idea for what the core experience, the core goal of a thing is, I am not going to just instill it into what the game tries to per se, but I am also going to instill that into the actual process of creating that game. Like, I want it all, like, I'm kind of like very, very perfectionistic about that, that I try to make the core style, the core idea just completely run through the whole thing in as many possible ways as just humanly possible. Um, so that's why I definitely agree that the process is more beautiful than the reward, and that is kind of why I have just that's why I kind of have started to feel um empty and uninterested and just kind of constrained in where I work, because I get to do a very small part, and I just don't feel like I just don't sometimes don't just feel that connectedness in something that I work on, and I also don't feel like I am in a position to make radical changes, because I think the intention of the things that I would work on is just a little bit different. It's a little bit simpler. So yeah, that is why I've just been having this like strong urge and calling that I should at least try doing things on my own and try to live up to that idea of working on something from beginning to end, and then letting others like join in and inspire. Um, at least try it, and if like I work for like a month or two and nothing works out, uh, if like try it, and if something doesn't work out, I can always find another day job and continue from there. But if it does work out, I feel that this might be the point where I'm just you know this might be the point, like the starting point of what's to happen. Yeah. So maybe it's not this point, but that point will definitely be like I am committed to seeing this through, and then getting out of game dev and going to work as a chef and just make food. That is my plan. I have some interesting goals. Let's say, oh yeah, I'm so passionate about games. I'm gonna try to at least make this game, but if I can, I'll make some more. I have some more ideas, like just a company and everything, like collaborating with just the players and other other companies, and then just stopping it all and going to make fried rice or like soups, or I don't know, other random dishes, maybe a breakfast place, and just being a cook or a chef for the next I don't know how many years. Um, as long as you think you can do it, it's possible. I mean, technically, making food and making games isn't that different. You are absolutely correct. Yes. The only real difference being, okay, there are tons and tons and tons of differences, but is, I guess, the immediateness of it and how many people you reach. But at the same time, you can reach a lot of people with food too. Yeah. Um, um, I would probably. This is also just some backstory stuff, but I already worked as a line cook in one place, and I also worked on banquets for a bit of time with a really awesome chef. Um, but I had the exact same thought as I was having right now at my current day job, that I am working, I am enjoying being like a cook, but I'm just constantly thinking about making games, and I just have to try it. And that's when I switched over to my current day job, and been at it for over 2 years now. So yeah, it's been timeline stuff for both the game and also for my work career, I guess. So yeah, that has been a lot of fun. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what else I was going after. Um, so I guess I don't know. It's probably obvious at this point, but that is why Steffi, when I heard your idea, like your ideas, that is why I was just so excited, because I'm just in general excited about hearing things that I think are nicely connected and have a good root, a good core. And right now, what I'm hearing about your world, your just game idea, I just think it has a really strong foundation, and I am just very excited for you to further go into it and develop it. And I am looking forward to like just seeing how it turns out. Oh, I accidentally closed YouTube chat. Whoops. But I haven't seen any chat from YouTube in however many streams I have doing. But I don't know if anyone is watching on YouTube. Like, um, hello. Um, yeah, thank you very much for joining in. Just so you know that everything I am addressing to Twitch chat is also something that I'm addressing to YouTube chat. But there's also no requirement, no push to write or interact. I'm just saying that there is the possibility. Chat. Okay, I brought it back. Nice. I'm also very excited for both mine and your game. You have a very nice idea, and I'm seated to see how this goes. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the encouragement, and also, yeah, thank you for the ideas. Like, definitely, I really appreciate it. I don't know if it's. Oh, sorry. I don't know if it's. Maybe it's one part. Just the me wanting to interact and to collaborate, and the other part me being lazy. But I did not have the idea of making like like a concrete timeline and just kind of working it through. So yeah, just thank you for just the pointers. Like I had not thought about, oh, how long do people live? I don't know. Does that matter? And I just kind of went through it, and I thought, okay, yeah, maybe that does matter. That sounds like a story point I could make. Also about the timeline, and then like you asked about the like the deities, what it happens, like is it born from hatred, etc. So yeah, that's um yeah. You're very welcome. I'm glad I could be useful. Oh yeah, most definitely. All right, it's 6:30, so I think I'm going to head off into the day for today. Um, yeah, best of luck, Steffi, with your project and like the timeline and the story and everything. Good luck to everyone else, whatever you might be working on. Thank you for joining me this Sunday and for watching the stream about I guess the world's timeline. Um, yeah, have a great rest of your evening, day, or morning. Um, and I will see you tomorrow.